race today has had a lot of early incidents going across this marvellous track across the estuary. In fact, had the sea been up, we would have found ourselves with the riders splashing through it, but the sea was low down, and particularly then across what is known as Le Bois, the riders had some cobbles yet to come. We're looking back at the early part of today's stage as the field then heading along the estuary. It's been a marvellous day, by the way, as regards the weather, absolutely sunshiny, but not for the riders. They've been putting the clamp down on it fairly well all the way through and keeping it quite close together, because I don't think any of them wanted to try and let any big riders go away. And perhaps we can have another bunch sprint like we had yesterday, but keep our fingers crossed that we will be on air over those occasions when, in fact, the riders came down yesterday with a big bang crash, and they're hoping to stay out of trouble today. Most of the riders who came off yesterday, by the way, suffered minor abrasions. Jean-Claude Rabin was the worst, actually, in the crash, but nevertheless, you see here, looking at this little group coming through at the moment. Duran on the front, ahead of Bugnot and Indurain. If you've been looking at your papers at the results from yesterday, and they actually put Indurain and Bugnot, a lot of other top riders, some 4 seconds back behind the leaders who took the sprint into the finish. And that, in fact, has now been changed because the crash, they said they were delayed inside the last kilometre. So Indurain and Bugnot, who came in missing the crash but nevertheless credited 4 seconds down, have all now been given that back again. I think that's fair treatment, because had it not been for Monsieur Abu Japarov demolishing a number of riders, then they certainly would have finished intact. So that's the situation then. We're now out here live on the race. A quick look back as we start our programme with that little race across Le Bois. And it was about 6 kilometres long, and we just saw the final stretch of it, just to open up our programme for you. In fact, the riders were encouraging Ducal Lasalle to have a go because of parts of cobbles along there. If we're having a look at the route they're taking today, actually it says 230 kilometres on our graphic. It is exactly 227.5 kilometres, taking the riders across the Saint-Nazaire. And they're going to have a climb, by the way, over the Saint-Nazaire, where we are in fact now approaching the point where the riders will have a king of the mountains will be on the top of the bridge. Imagine that, having a mountain climb on the top of the bridge, but that's the way it is. Looking down at a two-man break, you see the wind there on those flags blowing directly at them. That's been half the trouble today. They've kept the field fairly well together. It's a very fast start, but under these windy conditions, nobody's really wanted to try and get away at the front of the field. It looks to me like Serrada of the Lamprey team, credited yesterday with what would that be, an 8th place in the pack after the crash came down, when Abdul Japarov, also the Lamprey team, was slightly injured. One of his teammates stopped to look after him as this little two-man group have gone away now. And looking back, we've got a lead of probably something round about a minute and a half. So the conditions here with the wind not really favouring a two-man group, and the rest of the field, I think, at the moment, perhaps waiting for the bunch reaction, which can always pull back a useful breakaway group, and providing there are only 2 men, then I don't think they're going to worry unduly about that. So that's the situation. We see it right now. No real concern, I think, for the rest of the field at the moment. But of course, there's a lot of money at stake, by the way, up there at the front, because when they get to the line, there's going to be no less than 10,000 French francs for the first rider to go across the line. That, of course, is quite a useful little bit of a prize as far as they're concerned. So the 2 riders here at the moment, number 45 in this breakaway group, and that's Thierry Marie, who crashed badly yesterday, and yet another lonesome rider trying to get up to them. So this is splitting a bit, which is rather a surprise, I said, quite so early on. But still, Marie, who actually comes from Normandy and not far from this neck of the woods, is dead keen, I think, to show himself to his fellow countrymen. A lot of people from Normandy will come down. We're heading right up along the coast. We come out of what they call the Vendée. We left this morning Les Sables d'Olonne, and here we are on the bridge. Well, that's where the next King of the Mountains is going to be. And let's see if these two, I think they're going to certainly stay away as far as that one's concerned. So Jans Ferrada, it was in the pink jersey here at the moment with Thierry Marie. And you can see the bandages on his knee, by the way. He came down with an awful crash yesterday, ripped the whole of his jersey apart. He went right over the top of the bike and bearing all the scars as they go across the Saint-Nazaire. Well, I think they're going to stay out there. And once they go to the top then of the Saint-Nazaire, they were then going off and down the other side. And beautiful sight. I don't know if you can hear the seagulls in the background behind our helicopter, and the puffing and panting these riders going over the top. So this is the first of the King of the Mountains. In fact, we've only got one today, a fourth category climb as far as these two riders are concerned. It'll be quite a battle, by the way, for the points along the route. And these points, not only are they going to be for the points jersey, the green jersey, they're also giving some vital seconds bonus as well. We had one early on this morning after 22 kilometres had been covered. Oh, there are nice ceremonial spraying of water. That's always one of the fire tenders from now Saint-Nazaire coming out to give the cameramen something to point their cameras out. But on the first sprint of the day after 22 kilometres, here we are, the gap at 2 minutes and 15 seconds on the chasers, being led by All on his own, number 23, and that's Fidanza. And there they are. Well, say the first sprint of the day, Nelson after 22 kilometres got that one with Abdu Japarov in second place and Cipollini third. So Abdu beginning to get his own back after not being able to contest the sprint yesterday and showing he's not really been hurt by it. And when we had the second sprint after 108 kilometres, just before we came on air, it was Wilfried Nelson again that won that one. Cipollini in second place and Abdu Japarov in third. So they've collected then 6, 4 and 2 points, and of course 6, 4 and 2 seconds. So Nelson now has helped himself to 12 vital seconds on the general classification by virtue of those sprints. And this morning Nelson started out 21 seconds behind Miguel Indurain. So taking those 12 off the 21, doing a quick bit of mental arithmetic, it means now that Nelson is 9 seconds adrift of the yellow jersey. Now that's going to make it right interesting when we come to the sprint at the end of the race, because there are 20 seconds for first man across the line, 12 seconds for the second, and 8 seconds for the man after that. So I hope my arithmetic is correct. When we have a little break come up shortly, I'll start to double check my figures, because it's quite a problem here in the commentary position with papers all over the place to do your sums. Watch the monitor, which you're watching at home as well. Remember, this is live on Eurosport, then we put it out in the highlights later on as well. And amazingly enough, the cars here have been actually left on the road. Normally they stop the road 3 hours ahead of the Tour de France and clear all the traffic off it, but I suspect this time, because this bridge is an extremely vital link across the estuary, that they've decided to allow the riders to go ahead of the cars to go ahead of the riders and then pull them in at the 11th hour. So that seems to be what's going to happen this time. Reminds me a bit of the times in England when we've had the race go over the Humber Bridge, and that's an enormous big suspension bridge, rather similar to this one. Can't remember, we've never had actually a King of the Mountains on the top of there. We've taken the Kellogg's Pro Tour across the Humber Bridge, and we've taken the Milk Race as well. So we look down there, what a marvellous sight, isn't it? Now, the engineering of man to make bridges like this and allow people to take shortcuts rather than going around the estuaries that we used to have many years ago. Another fine bridge. Soon we talk about all the English bridges, by the way, across the Tamar and now the Severn. So in fact, that's just went across there to Thierry Marie. I was rabbiting on. I saw suddenly the flag out, and they hadn't got the camera on the line as they normally do ahead of Sferrada. The polka dot jersey is being worn by Simon back in the main group at the moment, so he's defending that little one. I have to quick look at the general classification on the King of the Mountains to see if that's going to make much change of it, because Francois Simon, of course the brother of Pascal, Jerome and Regis Simon, He's the youngest of the Sables families. In fact, all the rest have won a stage at some time or other in the Tour de France. So it'd be interesting to see if this young lad can, in fact, get himself a successful stage as well. But certainly he's got the polka dot jersey at the moment. Change of classification there in terms of the sponsor. It's the Champion Supermarket Group. Last year it was the Coca-Cola Light that sponsored the King of the Mountains. Now the Champion Supermarket Group has sponsored that one. And he's leading with 11 points ahead of Kasani with 6, Aldag with 5. And so these two riders here are no trouble to his King of the Mountains jersey. Because these small fourth category climbs, they don't count for many points. It's later on when we get to the big stuff. Look at that beautiful view. And there they are. That's the main group, soldiering on into the headwind. Nobody seems to want to try and pull this one back. Well, at this particular point, just to confirm the distance for you, as they've gone over the top of that King of the Mountains point, that was after they had covered 132 kilometres since they started this morning, 132 kilometres in all, and there are 95 kilometres left to the end of the race. So I somehow think that the field here are not too bothered about those two escapers, but they've got to be very careful with this escape, by the way, because Thierry Marie, that's in that group at the front, just those two-man group, is a well-known escape artist when it comes to going long distances out at the front and trying to win stages all on his top, because he did that in the Tour the other year when he set up, I think it was the longest escape ever in the Tour de France, and that was into Le Havre, and it caught a lot of people napping. They never thought he would actually stay out there, and that was the time that the Castorama team did a wonderful job. They blocked everything that was happening, and then at one point they actually got themselves positioned right the way across the road so that nobody could go past them, because they did not close up quick upon Thierry Marie right into the finish at Le Havre. And at one time we thought perhaps he might get caught off that lone break, but he's having another go today. And let's see then, what a lovely sight. The cameramen really have some fun, don't they? We're going to see some great pictures later on too in the Alps and the Pyrenees, I'm sure. All the French cameramen really want to come on the Tour because this is one of the great events to be working on, and they all look for a different shot, a different angle, and they've got one now, certainly. Let's see what's happening there. Oops, we lost the picture again. Sorry about yesterday, by the way, if you're watching our program when the old bird went on the blink and the satellite ceased to function. We were not the only ones, of course, because all across Europe, except for the terrestrial stations picking it up off the dishes on the ground, anybody, the whole of Eurovision that was picking up the pictures live off the satellite just went black just at the wrong time, and Cipollini won the stage. And I'm sorry about that, but that's one of the problems that you have with live coverage. I keep saying it's warts and all when you're doing it this way. You don't have any time to clean up the program and cover the problems, so we had that very disappointing drop in the program yesterday. But that's modern technology, modern science for you. You're seeing things actually happening right out there in France. A beautiful part of the world it is too. As they're going across this estuary here to the Loire River, and we're back again with the leaders. That's Marie for Festina. Disappointment, I think, as far as Sean Keller is concerned this year. He's looking forward to ride his 15th Tour de France. He rides for Festina, but he strained his groin early on this season and never really got the form back again. So unfortunately, Thierry Marie yesterday was crashed out as well. So the team not having the best of tours, with Kelly sidelined. Sean, I know, was desperately keen to ride this year and perhaps go out with a bit of a bang, but it wasn't to be. So Festina then relying upon this man here today on the flatter stages, heading into Normandy to try and do something a bit unusual. That's a rather nasty bump they just got out, wasn't it? So the next bit of action as far as they're concerned, there's going to be a sprint, by the way, after 201 kilometres being covered. That's 26 kilometres from the finish. I'd rather think that it would be closing up then. But right now, these two riders hanging on to that lead just over 2 minutes. We're going to take a short break, so come back to some more action from the Tour de France. Sargent then. Marc Sargent on the front. Well, it's just about anybody's guess who's going to get this one, isn't it now? Because the team tactics seem to disappear. Indurain's on the far side as well. Now, the gap getting close to that 1 minute, and the coordinated work from behind has stopped, which says that it's getting to such a point where one or two riders think they can probably jump across this gap. But it could play into the hands of the two leaders, because if those riders up in front still stick at it and the chasers are no longer together, in fact, looking back now, they've taken out all the official cars, or the following cars from the point of view of the 58th. I thought it was. We're down to less than 1 minute. The last check we had was at 1, and now it's less than 1 minute. And they moved the press cars forward. They're moving out everything that can be used as a stepping stone, giving it a chance for the riders behind a long straight road to see these two up in front. Only some 20 kilometres left to go. It's about, what, 12 miles or so. And it looks like it might all be in vain. Look at Thierry Marie here. He's tried so hard today to get this stage to add to his victories in the Tour de France. Although he's a prologue specialist, he's got enormous guts and determination, and that record-breaking stage, I think it was the second longest on record when we went into Le Havre, something like about 240 odd kilometres in the saddle all day long on his own to win the stage. Went away straight after the start, gutsy ride. He finished less than a minute ahead of the main group. Actually, tremendous performance as far as he was concerned. But look at the back, by the way. Look, he's breaking up a little bit now. There's some tired legs there for some of these riders. The domestiques have been working on the front. It's quite interesting when you look at the whole general classification, which we get. I know that your newspapers don't always, except in France and Belgium and so on, but in England and some other countries, they only put the top sort of dozen riders down. But when you see the general classification at the end of the day, well, the stage finish at the end of the day, you see riders coming in 1, 2 and 3 minutes down, and you see the names of the people that were driving hard at the front. We saw that chase when GBMG and Histor were on the front, absolutely pounding along to try and pull back the leaders. Then what often happens, some of the riders have been riding themselves at a standstill, they go to the back and then just the elastic snaps and they drop off. I've got a suspicion here though that Fenner, a pink jersey, that they might have gone back for a punctured rider, because Onse normally wouldn't lose as many riders they've got now. So I hope a helicopter goes back and looks at that little one, so it might be that somebody had a puncture. Telecom moving forward. I said earlier on I thought that Ludwig would like to try and have a bit of a gallop to get this stage. So many good sprinters in the race this year. We talk about so it's down to 50 seconds, 5-0, 50 seconds now. On these long straight stretches, they'll be able to just about see them in the distance. Of course, a nice sharp right-hander, out of sight, out of mind. And there are some quite narrow little roads on the run-in towards the finish. And that will certainly help the two leaders, because it'll just disturb the chase there. The only yellow car behind them is a neutral service vehicle with spares on top now. The team cars have dropped back into the main group. Yep, this is a turn off towards Armel, very narrow little road, and then they'll be back alongside the bay, the Golfe de Morbihan, and returning it. So when they turn actually at Armel, the wind will be slightly in their favour, so it might in fact just benefit them. They've been riding into this headwind. In fact, it's beginning to work in their favour now. So on the narrow roads, the wind will be actually slightly in the favour, and that will be jolly useful stuff, because here comes that second group coming up now, and they're travelling rather quickly. Obviously there's been some trouble. Jean-Francois Bernard's in that one at the moment. There's been a few problems, and this is a very workmanlike group getting back now, and there's enough pink jerseys in there too. Yep, there's Lampreys in fact, and Bonesto at least 3 up. So Jean-Francois Bernard having his teammates taking back this little group. They are 20 kilometres to go. as they go across the crossroads of the D20 and the D199. Heading up towards Armel, that's the next one. So the sharp right turn, the little town of Armel ahead of them, then through a close alongside a little village called the Hero, H-E-R-O. Well, the Hero's up in front today. That long lone break they've had, defending that lead, which at one time was what, nearly 6 minutes, 5:58. But look at the speed of that group coming up at them now. Very appreciative crowd. 40 seconds it is. All this, as I say earlier on, the drama of the Tour de France and how organised it is now, with these riders just seconds apart, because when the first rider some 90 years ago won the Tour de France, it was by well over 3 hours that he won the Tour de France, by the way, because in those days they rode through the night. These riders here weren't exactly doing a day's work. The champion of France now being in second place, but France really brought up on cycle racing since then. Imagine what the stage were like then in the Tour of those years gone by. Looking back down, in fact, it was the chasing group that the champion of France was sat in, and there he is grinding away now. Benestos 1 and 2. Jean-Francois Bernard in some sort of trouble. A couple of lampreys. Neil Stevens. A little disparate group. I think they've had their problems. Bernard is struggling at the moment. I don't know whether it's fatigue or whether he's had to have some help. Oh, and handling him through. Your turn on the banjo. Well, Lamprey could do with getting their riders up in front as well, because Abdul Japarov is going to need all the help he can get, I think, in the sprint today, and they're going to close up. Wow, that rider just beyond the front has died an almighty death. He's left a gap open. The worst thing is when you're getting back like this, and I know the bike rider's been through it, suddenly the whole bunch accelerates and you think you've made it, and you sit up and suddenly whoosh, they've gone again. But they're all going to get there at this rate of knots. Yep. Back into the relative peace and quiet of the main field and being sucked along, freewheeling once they get back in there, because the draft is such that the way in which you can sit in wheels and be sucked along, and they'll be glad to be back in that group, I can tell you. Hello? What's happened to Mrs. Gianni Bugno nipping up on the other side? He's been a bit lively recently. He certainly had a bit of a go yesterday. Well, they're going to catch him now. That's it. On this long straight road, we come off the little narrow road and we're heading back up towards Vannes, and they decided enough's enough. Well, I think a sympathetic round of applause from all you people at home, or a sigh of an R, no one has to be there, because you've just seen, you know, some of the disappointments in the Tour de France. You go and ride yourself into the ground, you spend all that time out there hoping to win a stage, and then you get so close to the finish. Actually, it's probably as well to be caught here with around about, what, 18 kilometres to go, I suppose, rather than as sometimes happens, and there's only about, what, 10 miles left in this race, and I've seen riders caught actually in sight of the finish, and the whole field go wham past them, and you're struggling in the main pack, and that must be even more disappointing than being caught right out here with still something like 10 miles left to go. Now, let's see what's happening, and the attacks are coming soon. They get caught, off they go. This is pretty standard practice. Wham, another one off the way. So, is it going to work? We're going to see several of these, by the way. And so, Rob Mulders for Word Perfect. Well, Rob, I don't think would expect himself to have his names up in lights, because the best people at doing this, by the way, I'd suggest that Rob has probably been told to go and do this to keep attacking, because people like Franz Maassen from the Word Perfect team are best at doing these long breaks off the front. And it looks like Chiesa coming up, Tim, as well, from the Carrera team. What's he going to do? Chiesa's always prepared to have a little bit of a go. He had to go, try to get away yesterday. It is number 13. Riding for the Carrera jeans. People are packing up sponsors at the end of this year, so probably see a change in the clothing, because they wear these green, these blue shorts that looks like jeans, because Carrera is a jean manufacturer. They have some little pockets are printed on them, and sometimes actually stitched on the back of their shorts as well. So perhaps that one of the more colourful ideas of having shorts that look like jeans will disappear from the racing scene, because Tironi, the pop manufacturer or soda manufacturer that co-sponsor Carrera, are going to continue with the team next year, so most of the riders will stay with the squad. But I suspect that Tironi probably want to find another co-sponsor to help them out. It's very expensive running cycle racing teams today, and of course big expense too when you come to Tour de France. The teams have to pay for their entry fee in the Tour de France, and it's scaled depending on, to a large extent, on how good your team is. Some of the little teams seem to have to pay a little bit more in the old days. I don't know if it still applies now, but the best teams, which they want to ride, the little teams find themselves paying perhaps a little bit more. But I'm not in the finances of the Tour de France, I can tell you, but certainly you don't get to ride here for free. And with the... Hello, we're going back to have a look at something that happened. Oh, this is the attack of Rob Moulders, wasn't it? Yep. Looks like, see, look, about 4 of the Word Perfect team are behind him. He rockets off. Now that's... Unless he was a lead-out man and went too fast and was going to take Marson with him. Now perhaps they've been told by Jan Raas to do the stepping stone business, get one up the road. Chiesa's gone with them, and let's see if we see another attack to try and come across for the Word Perfect people. Looking back down there at the moment, so's Chiesa, and so's Rob Moulders. Is it worth persisting with? We'll have to wait and see. Well, Jan Raas is a great tactician, and Eric van der Aarden is their key sprinter in the Word Perfect team. It used to be the Buckler team for a number of years, the non-alcoholic lager. They'll be taken over by Word Perfect, the software supplier, big American company, in fact worldwide company. Again, a company that went into it very much to get their name known more clearly, because almost looked upon Word Perfect. The people who operate computers know about it very well indeed, but it's been difficult to identify themselves, and so they've done it as well so that the employees across the world can feel some sort of camaraderie being involved in cycle racing. And here they are, they've got this one right out in front. Rob Moulders at the moment, quite a young lad. Just some 26 years of age. Been a pro since 1991 now. And Chiesa just in front of him. Always towards the end of the race, you're seeing this little fellow Chiesa having a go and spreading his wings and disappearing off the front to see if he can... I'm never quite sure, because he will from time to time take the pressure off people like Capucci and Roche, but it's a never say die attitude, and that I think is what the Carreras are like. They're always prepared to have a bit of a go. Nice view of the fields here with the wheat about, I think, to be cut. Word Perfect there. Yellow item lying about 3rd or 4th back from the front. Histor will only want, I think, to pull it together for Nelson's final sprint. But here we go. Well, why is Chiesa jumping around all over the place? That really is an unusual thing to do. Rob Moulders is dying on his bike at the moment. Quite a lot of stage successes when he was a lad. He won the stage in the Olympia Tour as an amateur when he was 4th overall, but I think riding the pros is just knocking him about a bit. Chiesa's gone. See Chiesa keeping well close into the crowd, hoping, in fact, I think that nobody will spot his disappearing act. Rode the Tour de France last year when he finished in 117th place. He finished 64th in the Tour of Italy, finished a couple of weeks ago. And it's a useful little gap he's got, but on his own I fear that probably it's a little bit too much, but there's so many people keeping a watchful eye on these riders slipping away off the front. That was just past Noyala, with a little tiny estuary coming down into the bay, the Gulf of Morbihan, because we're well down now on the southwestern edge of Brittany. So still Chiesa trying to stay away from that group. Both sides of the road. Just looking through the coloured jersey to see if I can get some sequence out of this one. Indurain doing the right thing, keeping over on the far side, out of trouble. There's Chiesa. Still there. This small head on his bike just shows he's one of his more diminutive riders, and Festina begin to wind it up yet again. Well, they didn't do much. Richard Ferranc here, wearer of the yellow jersey and the polka dot jersey, the Kingdom Mounted jersey in the Tour de France last year. Now, their objective, being as Murray's got caught, is to get their best sprinter in with a chance, and that is Jan-Paul van Poppel, a lightning sprinter, previous green jersey, the Tour de France as well. So as far as Telecom is concerned, looking now at number 78, that's Mario Kuma. Thank you, Mr. Captain Man, almost on cue. They'll be setting up for Olav Ludwig. Well, Telecom haven't had a most successful start to the year. They've been rather upset with the way things have gone. And the team, which is virtually all from Germany, just one of the Danish riders in the squad at the moment. We're back up with Chiesa. It certainly is a bit of a lonely effort as far as he's concerned. 13, unlucky number for some. Watching a mountain bike race when Mike Klug was riding in it about 6 weeks ago, and Kluger, ex-world professional cyclo-cross champion of the world, he was got number 13, so he turned it upside down and rode as 31. He didn't want to be unlucky. It took some time to spot what the hell was going on, but I'm pretty sure that was one of the mountain bike races he won. Now these lovely sandy soils here, some lovely sandy beaches and beautiful fishing ports just up on the coast of Brittany. We're just on the edge of it now. The Brittany South, of course, it's a very nice part of the world. I can tell you that you get weather here which is almost as warm as right down the south of France, because it's quite sheltered. A lot of British people I know come down here. The hot sunshine almost as good as the Côte d'Azur, and of course the fine sandy beaches are often less crowded than they are down the Côte d'Azur, the Mediterranean. But you can get from the Atlantic some pretty grotty weather sometimes blowing in just to catch you on the hop. Oh, Chiesa, looks like it might be over as far as he's concerned. They won't be celebrating tonight with any of the local Breton cider, I should have thought. That's pretty powerful stuff for blowing your brain out. Anyway. Yep. Telecom on the front, charging along now. There they go, that's it. Why attack? They've done the job now. I find this rather intriguing. Just to stop maybe something else having a go. Let's see. Oh, Gann struggling a bit in this race so far, firing a man off at the front. Lacking, of course, the personality of Greg LeMond, who's had a disastrous season. He's got some sort of infection they can't put their finger on at the moment. He's been really struggling, Greg. Everything he's ridden so far, he finished, well, he'd actually finished in the Tour of Italy with about a day to go. He pulled out when he was only about, 9 or 10 men off the bottom of the list, trailing nearly 3 hours. You might see it for yourself, that the 10 kilometres yet to go. So Gann didn't start Greg LeMond, and in fact, there we go, yet again on the far side. Attacks coming thick and fast. We're almost looking at the end of an era, as it said in L'Equipe the other day, as far as the top riders are concerned. Fignon said definitely this will be his last Tour de France. Greg LeMond not riding in the Tour this year, and I don't think we will see him back again. I hope, Greg, please take my apologies. In fact, you do come back next year and give us a great ride, but Greg seems to have difficulty getting his form right now, and because he revolutionised the sport in the last 10 years with his approach to rider payments and equipment as well. Many of the things riders are using now came from Greg LeMond, things like aero bars, crash helmets and so on, always looking for new materials for frames, new equipment. Greg drove the thing forward, and now must be really feeling a bit sick that he couldn't get his form today to ride this year to ride in the Tour de France. Just spotting now, we're getting so close that if you're going to get in contention for the sprint, you've got to find yourself now moving up to be in the last 4 or 5 kilometres, round about the top 30, no further back than that. So Le Marchand for Gann up on the front. A quick look there at the following car with Albert Bouvet sat in it. One of the directors of the Société de Tour de France, very much involved in the selection of the courses and looking after the riders' accommodation, what have you. And Motorola having a go this time. Well, is it the bold Phil Anderson? He's smarting on the fact that he didn't get that that start time. Look at this, on this climb, this is a time to make them grit the teeth behind and go for this long one. Oh, the pressure and the bunch coming up so quick. Look at that, you've climbed the hill, you thrashed yourself into the ground and zoom. 6.6 kilometres it says on the clock. Well, we've not been long on the 10. I think we'll have to discard that one. I think the flick on the screen, surely it can't be 6 kilometres. That's a very quick 3 kilometres if it was. Oh. Well, our motorcycles got round it. These chaps on the bikes, they really do to bring in the picture. They throw themselves all over the place, and if you watched, I think it was the head Volk earlier this show, when our motorcycle Cameron flicked the gutter and upended himself, we got wonderful pictures of the sky and riders crashing all over him. Here we go. More obstacles in the way, and still the majority of the 180 starters. Well, we've got 179 still in there. Bauer going through for Motorola. Indurain keeping out of trouble and driving hard at the front. Well, that's a turn up for the books. Indurain just showing his enormous capacity. This fellow, absolutely amazing character. Riding off the front of this lot, well, that is absolutely amazing. An extremely slow pulse rate. He's got no more than 28 pulses per minute, when the average person's around about 70. Of course, when he's racing now, it goes up to, what, 195 maximum. But he's just showing his tremendous ability to do everything. Not known as a sprinter, but he's been going after some of the bonuses so far. That looks like our car at the back of this one. And Sorensen in there too, second place. I think it's Skibby up in front of him. Well, Sorensen looks back, Ballerini there on his wheel. Well, GBMG have got to put the lid on this one. The TVM sprinter is Johan Capio. Sorensen always prepared to have a go for a long one. He's ploughing away at the front. Ballerini is always prepared to go for it as well. Alcala going through now at the front. Alcala looks back at the moment. And so looks nice, cool, calm, collected. Surprised that he went for that one, because Alcala, great mountain climber, would normally look to get miniatures out there. Skibby pulls back over the front as well. Ballerini still Sorensen on the far side. Sorensen starts to go again. Alcala looks at him. Then yet again, Arias Steer always prepared to have a go at this one. But no, he's sensible. No, he's still persisting with this one. Everybody's just throwing themselves down the road as fast as they can to those who can't go for the long sprint. They've got to go for the long ride. The sprinters still will be, I mean, this is brinkmanship. And people like Jalabert in there looking for an on-sea lead out. People like Ludwig in there waiting for a telecom lead out. People like Cipollini in there waiting for a lead out too from his man. And Abdul Jafarov for Lampre as well. And they've got to sit tight and hope that these other riders who have no chance of just bursting, I mean, the ability to sprint and kick twice again is something few riders have got. So those riders who can actually go for the past 5 kilometres or so, absolutely on the edge of pain, have got to try and get away now. And that's what we're seeing at the moment. Looks like Jesper Skibbe again for TVM on the front with 4 kilometres to go. It's getting close to the finish, hanging on for grim death. They're hoping that the elastic will break, the gaps will come and they'll just stay away. Hoping against hope, but they've absolutely got just that little bit of a lead now. I think it's Kasani on the front at the moment. Looking back down that one. Yep, I can see Ludwig, 1, 2, 3 back in the front as the lead out man. Ludwig lying for what, 4th, 5th in the front. Well, Alastair, always known to throw men in to try and win stage victories in the Tour de France. It's been there standing. Oh, he's got cramped up. See him suddenly banging his leg. He's cramped up. That happens with riders from time to time. And the cramps there. And so the rest of the field wanging their way around here. Looking down there through our hazy monitor screen, I can tell you, often watch the programs later on the big wide screen. I think, Christ, it's so much easier to pick out the numbers and the riders on a lovely screen. We have these little monitors here, which it's very difficult indeed. Yet again then, attack coming second fast. Lance Armstrong this time for Motorola. The American then zooming out of that pack. This chap is also going to be a right turn up for the books. Turned pro last year after the Olympic Games, and then went on to win a couple of the races at the back end of the year, and technically picked up a prize worth $1 million in America about a couple of weeks ago as well. That $1 million prize, it was we had to invest the money, by the way, into all sort of trust bonds and keep it in there. Guillaume Bugno having a go. Bugno near the front. Well, Gianni Bugno had a disastrous tour of Italy, and now he's on the front here screaming away. He's got that ability to go too. He won the World Championship last year with a superb sprint from a group of riders. And see Cipollini in the green jersey now, 1, 2, 3 from the front, and Nelson is on his wheel. Nelson for Hissel is on Cipollini's wheel. It's surprising that at the moment that the pink jerseys of the Telecom team have not got Ludwig in contention. He's looking back. No, it's not Ludwig on your wheel, mate. It's Cipollini himself in the green jersey. Cipollini's got Nelson on his wheel. And according to my quick calculations, down the road with, 2 kilometres to go, Nelson at the moment has got, what was that? He's picked up 12 points overall in the competition so far. Started out this morning in the points competition, so it's down to who can take the points jersey, I think, at the moment between these two in the green jersey. Cipollini at this morning 35, and he's collected so far 2 and 4 at 6, so he's got 41 points for Cipollini, and Nelson has got 42 points, in fact, if my calculations are correct. So that in fact means that these two are separated by only 1 slender point. Now then, who's going to get the victory? Who's going to get the extra time bonuses and the points as well as they go across the line? 41 points to the man in the green jersey, 42 points to the man on his wheel, Nelson. And as they hit the line, with Bugno on the front at the moment, when they go across the line, there'll be 20 points for first man across the line. There'll be 12 points for second, 8 points for third. The yellow jersey will be happy now that he stays close in there, but he's got to watch out just for the other riders round about him, Jalabert particularly, to pick up some time bonuses. Jalabert picked 2 seconds back earlier on, and so Indra will be quite happy to let this little group go away. Bugno though at the front at the moment. He started this morning 15 seconds down on on Indurain. So Bunyo, if he won this one, could in fact take the yellow jersey, because about 20 seconds there. Bunyo is the best one to take it, but of course this morning also Nelson started 21 seconds down on Indurain. Take 12 from that, he's 9 seconds ahead from Indurain. So as yet again the attacks are coming, thinking about Nelson is the best one that's going to get some value out of this one, and Indurain might use his yellow jersey. Nelson, but it's Armstrong trying to win the stage. Armstrong going for it, and also moving up in there. Long last we see Ludwig, but no, going for the line. Nelson hits that one. Nelson goes first, and it looked like it was probably Cipollini in second place and Armstrong alongside him. So if Nelson takes the 20 seconds bonus as well, he's in fact so far collecting 32 seconds today, and according to my rough calculations that puts him in the yellow jersey. Apart from winning the stage, well, Pistol Nomel Laser will be absolutely overjoyed with that one. Keep your fingers crossed though that I've got the numbers right, because I tell you, timing that little lot and doing the calculations is not all that easy, but I rather think that that could be yellow jersey changing shoulders, and it could be Nelson in yellow. But Cipollini just behind him looks also like he might have lost that green jersey as well, and so Nelson could be in green, he could be in yellow. Let's look at that one from the top yet again. Nelson on the right hand side starts to go for it. Armstrong dies in fact. Ludwig starts to come through. Nelson still fighting for it. Green jersey comes up very late. Abdul Jafarov is cooked. Nelson takes it, and I think that Cipollini might have just got second place marginally. Here we go again. Abdul Jafarov has ever thrown his bike all over the place. Nelson hits the line. Abdul Jafarov on the right hand side. Ludwig up inside him, but I think probably the green jersey might just have got third spot, but I don't think that was, in fact certainly wasn't enough according to my calculations. He got 8 back, Nelson got 20, and here we go again. Green jersey on the left, Ludwig coming through. Abdul Jafarov this time, nobody to knock down. Armstrong it was that relaxed. I thought he came through, but he gave it up. Watch this one. That Nelson. Oh, I reckon Abdul Jafarov probably shaded, but Cipollini was still going faster. Well, that was an extremely close finish. I'll have to wait for the official results on that one, but I think the jerseys have changed hands. Look at this lot coming up this slope. It really has buried a lot of bike riders today. The yellow jersey is in there, so certainly confirmed that the Nelson has got there's the yellow jersey coming in now. So part of the time bonuses, he must have lost another 2 or 3 seconds there in Indurain. I don't think he'd be too bothered about that really, because in the mountains Nelson won't find himself able to keep up alongside people like Indurain, but nevertheless Histor Nova Mile Laser, we're pleased with that performance. Yellow and green jersey, a good day's work then for Wilfried Nelson, winner, they say, of that wonderful stage in Ireland. When I watched him come down that finishing straight into Galway, tremendous burst of speed. He's got that gift that some people have got, but my goodness, he will also have to buy his team a round of Perrier water tonight, I would have thought, because they work so hard, as did Cipollini's team, to put them into contention. This wonderful bay then, where the riders are at the moment, just resting at Vannes before we start our stage tomorrow, and then we'll be going off on the stage to Dinard before we have the time trial the day after. So heading up through to Normandy and to the home of Thierry Marie, who tried so hard to win the stage today and just failed to get there. So great disappointment from Marie's point of view, but for Wilfried Nelson then, winner of the Circuit of Het Volk this year, winner last year of the stage in the Tour of Ireland, great sprinter, specialist par excellence, is now going to be in the yellow jersey. Well, the action replay again, let's have a look at this one. Nelson so well over the line in first place. Interest then for second place. Did Abdu get it on the far side? Yes, just from Cipollini. Ludwig fourth. Well, he finished yesterday in fourth place, Ludwig, so that's 2 fourths on the trot. Previous green jersey in the Tour de France just seemed to have lost a little bit of the edge, but that uphill finish I don't think would suit the bold Olive Ludwig. Let's take you through it yet again. Abdul Jafarov doesn't go to the right too much. He starts to flick to it. Nelson is going past him well clear of Abdul Jafarov, who's now looking up and head down again. Nelson still goes very quickly. Cipollini left it remarkably late to come through. He's coming up to them very quickly indeed, but he misjudged that one as Nelson still fighting his bike. He nearly goes into Abdul Jafarov, who for once in his life eases off. I think he's had enough falling off the bike since that big crash yesterday. So there we go. And Nelson it is, arms up in the air saying, that's mine, I've got it. Well, Cipollini didn't get that one. He's got over 49 victories so far this season, sorry, so far in his career. He didn't get that one. This man did, and it got him not only a stage victory, but the yellow jersey. Nelson, no wonder this lad is looking extremely happy, I can tell you. Winner of stages, things like the Route du Sol as well, and also the Tour of Holland. One of the great finds. He's only been a pro since 1991. So this young professional not only showing that he can sprint to win stages and take the green jersey, he's taken the yellow jersey as well in the Tour de France. So the jersey changes off the backs of Indurain. We've got a long time to go before this race finishes in Paris. Stay with Eurosport, by the way. We're bringing you more live action from the Tour de France tomorrow. So it's time to say for us all here. Hope you enjoyed it, and it's bye-bye from us now. Bye-bye.
The Tour de France is brought to you by Coca-Cola.